Hello and happy Wednesday. I'm going live today with Lara Plum, the sweet soul Lara, and I am excited to get her in here. We're going to be talking about Ayurveda and Jyotish and course that I am starting on October 5th. We start October 5th. We've got a wonderful group and amazing guest teachers. And so I'm going to tell you all about that. Comment waitlist below if you want all the details. Hi, there she
Hello.
is. Hi, Laura.
Hi
Good
there.
to see you today. Can
Great
you
to
hear
see
me
you.
okay?
I can hear you great. Can you hear me?
I can. I got this new tech going on, and today's the first day I'm trying it out. So let's hope Mercury works with us
Yes,
today.
exactly.
How
Good
are
to
you
see you.
doing?
I'm so great. How are you?
All is well. We're in the throes of this embodied Vedic astrology course. We're getting our people in the door, and I'm excited to talk to you about that today because you're one of our guest teachers. And we
So happy
also
about
have
that.
some transits to talk about and
Oh,
Ayurveda as usual.
yeah.
So, where would you like to begin?
I'd love to hear about your course. Why are you calling it Embodied Jyotish?
Such a great question. I just did a live on this a few minutes ago, actually, in my Facebook group. I am so passionate about bridging Jyotish with the body and making sure that we use
Mhm.
Jyotish for its intended purpose, which is healing and transformation. So, as you know, Laura, and those of you watching may or may not know, I'm not so into prediction. Prediction isn't really my thing. I don't think it's that important. I think we have a lot of free will. And
Yeah.
one of my Ayurvedic teachers and guides, Vaidya Ramakant Mishra, I think you know him. He reminded me many years ago that Jyotish is its intended purpose, and the best use of Jyotish
Yeah.
is for healing and for Dharma. And he gave me his blessings to share Jyotish when I was like really scared and nervous and filled with self-doubt and really questioning if this is something I was even supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he said, no, this is your medicine. You need to go do this. And this is the highest form of Jyotish, to use it in this way. And my background is body-centered expressive art therapy, somatics, and therapy on multiple levels. So, as you know, Jyotish is a powerful, impeccable tool for just precision, knowing exactly what's going on in the body and soul, and supporting someone in making different choices,
Mm. Yeah. I love
whether
that.
it's diet or whatever
Right.
whatever kind of choices. So that's why I wanted to make that distinction. This is embodied Vedic astrology, not just any old Jyotish course. There are plenty of those out there.
Yeah. Can we just talk a minute about that? I love that you say that you don't do predictions, because I think there's two things about predictions. One is I find the people who do predictions is I'm trying to find a way to say this, who do predictions as part of what they really, okay, so I'm just going to skip that part. They oftentimes are wrong. I find that if we're trying to be specific about a prediction, our biases get in the way. We still are humans, even though my teacher says Jyotish gives you the capacity to approach the mind of God. But
Ah,
he reminds we are still not God. We are still humans. And we have to watch our biases.
mm,
I think that's one thing that's really important. But the other thing is, I think then people get attached to
mm.
knowing what might happen when this truth is we still don't know. And we really want to be teaching people to live in the wonder and delight of uncertainty rather than trying to imply that we were going to have certainty in some way. What do you think?
100%. Yeah, I think that certainty is a couple things about certainty. I think that there's probably some colonization and some puritanical ideologies that are rooted in that need to know.
Mm.
And then I question that. Why might we need to know? And is that coming from maybe some trauma around this
Mm-hmm.
uncertainty? of life. Even the birth process itself is a traumatic process. Just to get here to this planet,
Yeah.
there's trauma involved. And so that need to know, I think, is human, and we can honor that. And also, as you say, this curiosity of life, this how did you just say that, Laura?
I don't know, the uncertainty, just to
Yeah,
live in
the
that wondering life.
uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious about that part of myself, the part of myself that wants to grasp and hold on to certainty when I know that
Yeah.
that's probably not the way that this life, at least in my experience, that has not been the way this life has worked.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, so embodied Vedic astrology prediction. I guess my question for you, this is the age-old question, and probably many Jyotishis grapple with this, like I have. How much free will do you think we have versus predestiny?
Such a great question, because when I look at like my puppy, or I've been out sailing a lot lately and I'm seeing the birds flying around, and I'm thinking they're just so in tune with
Mm.
natural cycles and rhythms. And especially a bird or a dolphin. Gosh, we were actually out with the dolphins last weekend, and you're just like, wow, we have this idea that, that there is, I love that line, that enlightenment or self-realization is when the wave realizes it's the
Uh,
ocean.
oh,
And as I was
yeah.
watching the dolphins, I thought, and then when you realize that you're the ocean, oh, that joy, oh, that playfulness,
Mm,
oh, all that sweetness. And they don't, we don't think that they have free will, so they don't go off
mm,
course. I mean,
mm,
is free will everything it's made out to be? I kind of look at the natural world and think, how beautiful to live really as an ocean,
mm.
and just be waves of the ocean rising and falling and living in those cycles. Ayurveda is really teaching us how to return to those cycles. And I think when we return to those cycles, we have ease, we have wellness, we have wholeness, we have peace. And yet, free will is our choice as to how to use the Jyotish, how to use it.
100%. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a
So,
play there.
so I'm going to say we have a lot of free will, probably more free will than we realize. I think that in the Vedic world or the Jyotish world, even in the Ayurvedic world or the yogic realms, there tends to be, in my experience, there's a lot of right and wrong, good, bad, binary that takes place,
Mm-hmm.
and good karma, bad karma, like this. And I think one of the things that's really changed for me over the years, because I grew up with kind of that mentality of like, oh, there's good charts and bad charts, and there's good transits and
Yeah.
bad transits, and
Right. Oh.
and that it's really more about how we show up in our body, how we approach the challenge, how we meet the challenge, because there's always challenges. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, summer is not better than winter.
Yes. Right.
So the embodied approach is then using the innate intelligence or the body wisdom to meet whatever is arriving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then how do we meet that?
Mm-hmm.
And consciousness will support the how we meet that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how we eat, what we're eating,
Mm-hmm.
when we're eating, which is the wisdom of Ayurveda. What I'm curious about hearing from you today, and I know you're a guest teacher in the Jyotish course, and you're going to be sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us, which is wonderful. But give us a teaser of your approach to Ayurveda and Jyotish. I'm curious. I've actually, I don't even know if we've ever talked
Mm-hmm.
about this actually. How do you bridge Ayurveda and Jyotish together?
Can I just go back a minute and say it actually really hurt? I could feel speaking of embodied, I could feel everything inside me hurting when you talked about good and bad charts.
Oh,
Remember in Hamlet, there's that beautiful line Shakespeare writes, there is neither good nor bad, Horatio, dear Horatio, but thinking makes it so. There is neither good
mm,
nor bad, but thinking makes it so. It sounds like you're teaching people a lot about how to think in a more holistic, integrated way, how to connect to the wisdom within us, how to connect to even the sensations within us, and to feel that we can respond to that. Instead of, is the chart good or bad in my brain, it's like, ooh, that does not feel good. I'm not doing that.
Right.
I'm not going good or bad on this. I mean, karma, even I've had somebody, I said something to somebody, I said, gosh, it sounds like there's a lot of, you have some karma, there's a lot of karma around this, something like that. She's a friend. She was really insulted. And I was like, wow, I have to remember that people think karma is something negative. I mean, it's just a thing that you're experiencing in life that you may experience various iterations of that could be hard for you to deal with, but that is certainly an opportunity for growth. That's all karma is to me. It's like, these are the things that are going to help you crack open. It won't feel good maybe when it's happening, but it's going to help you evolve. And what are we here for, right? Sri Aurobindo says, all that we're here for anyway is to creatively and consciously participate in the creative evolution of consciousness itself.
Yeah, we like to think we're pretty special, but maybe it's really that simple. We're just part of this play, this Leela, and what's my role in the play?
Yeah. And I love that because, it does help us stand back and look at something with greater neutrality, but then also greater discernment to choose. You can jump in and be passionate about something and go for it. You can fight the battle if that's what it is right for you to do. Or you can stand back and watch it all play out. It's not to say just stand back and do nothing, right? It's like, but you get to stand back and choose from that place of peace within your heart, from clarity in your mind. Then go for it if a passionate, righteous battle is the right thing for you. But it's about not being reactive, overly reactive. Anyway, sorry, that is totally a diversion from your question.
Well, I'll just add on that tangent. Maharishi used to say, you can go to the marketplace and you can choose salt or you can choose sugar. So that was always a reminder to me of our immense free will. What are you choosing? And then, depending on your choice, okay, how do we keep showing up in response? Working through relationship challenges or health problems or money issues or, life purpose challenges. The challenges keep coming. I mean, a lot of people think that Dharma is like, oh, it's the easy road. Like once I find Dharma, then life is just easy and it's the golden path.
Right.
I've not found that to be true. In fact, the opposite. That in fact, Dharma will be the hardest thing that you do. And that's why most people miss the opportunity. And the soul avoidance, the not having the courage or the commitment to keep showing up for the challenge and facing it, they lose the opportunity to actually get the fruit, the reward, the benefits. So what do we choose?
And I completely agree with you. You had a post today which I really loved. I also feel that your karma is what reveals your Dharma. You will find, because the karma is there to break you open, and then in that opening is that revelation, right? And in that revelation is your oneness, your integration with nature and natural law. And that's what you're here for. I mean, what does Dharma mean? There's so many ways to describe it, but one description is to be in harmony, to be in unison. This is the Ayurveda of Jyotish, to be in unison, in unity, in a harmonic flow with nature's cycles, with natural law.
Yes. And that's why there's such a beautiful team. Of course, none of the branches of Veda are meant to be used in isolation. So it makes sense that Ayurveda and Jyotish are such a beautiful pair. But I want to hear more of your expression of Ayurveda and Jyotish. So cycles and rhythms, what else?
So there's two major ways. I would say it's like two categories we could talk about in terms of the Ayurveda of Jyotish. Jyotish has a medical astrology piece to it, right? You can look at a person's ascendant or rising sign to see a lot about their property, their mind, body, constitution. You could look at 6th house to see digestion, 8th house to see other tendencies towards illness. But you're also looking at how strong is a certain planet, maybe that might help them burn off toxins or follow protocols, actually, in order to reverse the imbalances or pathologies. So there's that. There's medical astrology is extraordinary. I was able to study it with some great doctors from India, including a man named Dr. Charak, who's head of surgery at a hospital in Delhi. And he uses the Navamsha charts, the Varga charts. He's just brilliant. So there's a lot of depth there in terms of medical astrology. That's one thing. There's the Ayurveda of Jyotish there. But the other thing is that I feel as if Jyotish is an expanded arm, you might say, of Ayurveda. Because if Ayurveda is actually pointing us to nature and saying that in nature there's 5 elements, 3 doshas or bioenergies, 20 attributes or gunas, 20 ways to describe nature. It's hotter, it's cold, it's heavier, it's light, right? It's smoother, it's rough. Then really we're just asking or inviting one to a harmonious relationship with nature itself. And remembering that you are nature, that means a harmonious relationship with life itself. Wow, how beautiful is that? Well, Jyotish is pointing to the same thing. These are certain energies, moon waxing and waning, passing through certain nakshatras. These are energies as well. These are more invisible. These are more subtle energies. That's why I feel like it's a more advanced expansion of Ayurvedic wisdom. But it is still about how do we harmonize with these energies that are both in the birth chart, the matrix of stars and planets, light, energy, and intelligence that is the coming alive of you, but also those transits. You know, how are those planets affecting us as we go through our life? So it's really an invitation to pay attention to the energies, pay attention to how they affect you, and to learn how to balance, cultivating the application of opposites in order to create harmony and balance, so that you can have a more sacred, sumptuous life. And again, I just want to go back to the fact that, but we're also not trying to make predictions. We're also not looking, you know, somebody said, how do you use Ayurveda? Are you looking every day? And I said, no, of course I'm not looking every day at what's going on. I'm not, and one can, of course, but I'm not trying to manage my life by externals, right? We're still coming into the center of our being and finding our peace there and seeking to, you know, live from that space. And yet, it's beautiful to go out at night and look at the stars and find the moon and say, hello, dear Mother Moon, I love you. Thank you for coming back out tonight. Cultivating a relationship with these energies, I think, really does create a more beautiful life.
I love that. A beautiful, harmonious life. That is the benefit of both Ayurveda and Jyotish, is harmony. Harmony with nature and our bodies, cycles, rhythms. We're all nature. It's all nature. But I think you're also reminding me of something important, because we tend, I'll say we, in a blanket statement, we tend to use Jyotish and even Ayurveda, you know, when there's a crisis or a challenge or something's not working and I need things to get better. But in fact, these are preventative tools. These are resources to prevent many challenges from arriving. I think about that with my Ayurvedic upbringing. At my age, how many bodies are really struggling right now. And I'm not saying I don't have my health struggles, but it would be so much worse if I didn't know what churnas to use and what to eat, when to eat, how to eat. And I'm so grateful for the preventative medicine that Ayurveda has brought. And I think Jyotish has that powerful capability as well, that we can, and this is not prediction. This is, I think of it almost like, it could be anticipation. It could be a noticing what's to come, tendencies based on the fluctuations and changes, not as prediction, but as accepting and allowing what is happening and what is coming, what's to come. Haya dukkha managatam, avert the danger that has not come. And Jyotish and Ayurveda have the wisdom, the resource to be able to do that. So I just want to offer that reframe.
Well, I love it as a frame, because if you think about that related to Ayurveda, we're not, I mean, we could predict that autumn is coming, right? We could predict that with autumn we might have cooler days, shorter days as well, longer nights. We might have scattering of leaves. Of course, we know that. And so we want to say, well, you know, it's going to be time to put away my summer clothes, pull out my autumn clothes. It might be time to put away my mint and pull out my ginger, right? And we're going to eat the foods that are there by the farmers. But then what we're not doing is we're not saying, therefore, I'm going to be depleted, or therefore, I'm going to get sick. And I think with Jyotish as well, we're not saying, you know, absolutely, this person's going to lose the election, or that person's going to win the election, or there's going to be a return. I mean, some of the things that I see, which don't often come to bear. Rather, what you're talking about is energies, right? You're talking about the weather is going to be a little bit like this. It doesn't mean you're going to have a car accident. It doesn't mean you're going to have communication problems. It just means autumn's coming. You know, it's an energy versus an actual, I think, predicting an event. I think there's a big difference. Yeah.
I think this is why I resonate with you, and out of, you know, the thousands and thousands of Jyotishis in the world, there's only two of you that I align with.
Oh, good. Who's
and
the other
you're
one?
both in my course.
Yeah.
Yes. And I love this reminder because, you know, honestly, a lot of what's out there in the Jyotish world, or even the astrological world, for me, it's about pot stirring. It's about creating drama that doesn't need to happen.
Right.
I don't want that in my body. I am working on equilibrium and finding that peace and harmony you speak of. It's the pot stirring and that chaos making that we need to be mindful of. Are we, and when we work with our clients, are we helping them create more chaos in their lives, or are we supporting their calm, their peace, their contentment? And I remember, I'll use another Maharishi quote, but he was very keen on, we speak the sweet truth. And, you know, it's one of the reasons why I've built ethics into my Jyotish course. You know some of my story. I've been harmed by Jyotishis and having grown up with Jyotish. And we have to be careful because this is a powerful tool. Now, on one hand, it's how you use the tool, right?
Right.
On the other hand, this is such a powerful tool that if we aren't in right relationship with it, it can cause harm.
Yeah. Right.
So do we want to create more chaos, or do we want to create more balance?
Again, it's perhaps a kind of colonialization. We're using something to accumulate power and dominate others. What happened with you is just straight up abuse. And I do think it's important that we're careful with Jyotish. I think that's why I'm grateful that I was a yogi first, that you learn and practice the principles of ahimsa. We speak the sweet truth. Whenever I'm in India, I'm reminded that ahimsa comes before satya in the yamas. So be kind first, speak truthfully, but remember kindness first. So we're going to speak sweet truth. In other words, I think we're not going to, in seeking to be authentic. Do you know, by the way, this is so interesting. I can't remember who it is, and I wish I could, because I'd love people to be able to verify this, but somebody who is able to test people's vibrations found that authenticity vibrates at a higher level than love.
Oh, amazing.
And I thought you might be interested in that, because I feel like when you talk about embodied Dharma, so much of that is really, what is your authenticity? What is your truth? And then once you know your truth, I feel like you get quieter. You don't get louder. You're not having to find a mountain to shout your truth from. You don't have to be offensive to others, right?
I just got chills. That feels so true to me in my body. And there's been moments as I've moved into my 40s where that raw energy has been met with just contentment and questioning, like, am I losing my my rage, my power, my energy, and actually, and I was saying this to a friend last night, I don't even care what anyone else does anymore, because I'm just at peace with myself and accepting who I am. And I think that Jyotish has been part of that journey. It's like, this is my path. This is who I am. This is my nature.
Right.
Take it or leave it.
Right.
And can we find that peace, that self-love within ourselves, that acceptance, that authenticity, as you say? That's the Dharmic path.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you choose to do with that is sort of the next step.
Right.
It's like, do I share that? Do I share my gifts and wisdom? And I don't have to do it in a big, fast, energized way. I can just simply share in a natural way.
I love that. I do feel exactly that. Jyotish is so affirming. It really affirms who you are. Sometimes people have written to say, I want to come for a Jyotish session, but I don't want you to tell me anything negative.
Oh.
And I feel like I promise I won't say anything negative, although we don't always know how people will hear things.
Yeah.
But I do feel that Jyotish is very affirming. And I think, and that's what is Ayurveda, but yoga reminds us that we're all one. We all, Vasudev Kutumbakam, we all come from the same creator. We all belong to the same family. Let's take care of each other. There's an inner oneness, which I love. But then Ayurveda says, and yet you're wholly unique. And we love that about you too. That in your human form, you are completely unique and completely individual. And yes, let's celebrate that. And Jyotish, I think, helps us really understand. I feel like there's possibly a third category where Ayurveda and Jyotish relate. And that's that, to me, Jyotish is sort of the psychology of Ayurveda. You get to really understand a person's mental, emotional, internal makeup. And I find it so affirming that when you go to school, you're raised in so many of our cultures. I had 30 kids in my grade school class. Somebody just sent a picture and I counted it up. It was 30 kids. So of course, that one teacher's got 30 kids. They've got to really streamline. They've got to almost teach us in a cookie cutter sort of a way. And then we're all just sort of pushed together and expected to be the same and graded on how sameness we are, right? And I think Jyotish is really giving back to you your uniqueness in a way, your sacred individuality. So I love that it really affirms your personal expression, right? And
yeah, our cosmic nature, it's unique. Each star is different. And all the stars make up this cosmic sky. And here we're back to the beginning here, Lara.
Yeah, we kind of are.
This is where we started.
Yeah.
I always want to just keep talking to you, and I always feel like there's more, and it's just such an honor and a privilege to have you in the Embodied Jyotish course, and to share you with my clients, and to have an intimate experience with you. I'm sure this will be a wonderful class on Ayurveda and Jyotish for those in the course to experience. And any final thoughts or just essence of you that you want to add as we close the conversation around Ayurveda and Jyotish?
I love Ayurveda for its compassion. I feel like Ayurveda's done a beautiful job of bringing forth, cultivating, expressing, and maintaining the love that is at the heart of Mother Earth and Mother Nature. It's the medicine of nature, and it expresses through the teachers, the doctors, that compassionate heart of the Mother. And I feel that what you're describing in terms of your Jyotish course is carrying a lot of that compassion as well. And I think that's such an important place for us all to return to and to live from. From that place of self-compassion, we can have more compassion for others, and then we can let everybody live their lives.
Yeah.
Support and celebrate everybody's uniqueness. And like you said, all these stars have such different energies and personalities, and yet they're all light, right? They're all light, and so is everyone else. We're all stars making up this constellation of the world. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for creating this course. I'm so honored to be invited to play with you and to participate in it. And I'm so honored that we have this exchange of students. I know that my students who have come and taken classes with you have really, really appreciated what they've gotten from you. So thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And of course, I always recommend you as a Jyotishi to go to who's going to be safe and trustworthy and speaking that sweet truth. That's one of the things that I truly love and admire about you. That mother quality that you speak of really comes through your offerings and your work. And we need more of that gentleness. I'll say fierce gentleness in this world and speaking the sweet truth. And so for those of you who are curious and want more details about my Embodied Vedic Astrology Certificate course, comment waitlist below. I'll follow up with you. We start October 5th. We can still fit you in, but you need to reach out to me quickly so we can have a conversation and get you all the details. Comment waitlist below and I'll follow up with you. I'm so excited about this course. I've never done anything quite like this before, but it feels like what I call a legacy offer, where I'm bringing the last 43 years into one offering and really sharing the depth of my work with those who want to grow in this knowledge and wisdom from an embodied perspective, from a body-centered perspective. But the other part that I'm excited about is the business portion. You know, so many courses out there, whether it's Ayurveda or Jyotish, they don't support that long-term prosperity and sustainability with sharing your gifts and wisdom. So for those of you who are in this process, ask me how you will recoup your entire investment through this 9-month process. For those of you who are motivated, you will recoup your entire investment in the next 9 months. So waitlist below. I'll share all the details with you. And Lara, we'll see you in the course.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful for you. And just thank you for meeting me today and for sharing your wisdom with us today.
I hope everyone knows how deeply you are a student and a long-term practitioner of Jyotish. You know, those of you who study with Swati, you will be getting all of the Jyotish in all of its fullness, right? It's not like this course is, then you're going to have to go take another course somewhere else. Swati has all the beautiful knowledge of Jyotish. You've been doing this now for a very long time. You're very, very clear in your teachings. And you bring also to it this deep embodied, this deep compassion. So it's an and.
I appreciate that. I thank you for seeing me and my work in that way, Lara. That really means a lot. You know, I will say that my goal here with this course, I want it to stand apart from what else is happening in the Jyotish world. My hope is that embodied Jyotish will mean something as we keep walking this path, and that there'll be a distinction around that. So for those of you who are certified in this method, you'll have that distinction. This isn't just prediction. This isn't about telling people what to do and you know, outside, taking that power outside of themselves, but actually returning that power back to your clients and supporting them in back to body, back to body, back to body. And that's where our true power lies.
Yeah.
So
back in the body. Well, next time we do an IG Live, let's talk more about that.
All right.
In the body.
Let's do it soon.
Do it soon. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks
Many
everyone.
blessings to you, Lara.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.